2024 is the year of new creators. The Black Myth Wukong is one of the biggest games of this year's, and who knows who Game Science is? Same thing with Helldivers 2 and multiple other games. Space Marine 2 was made by a pretty unknown dev. From Software was obviously crushing it with Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, and probably will with Night Rain next year, even though the plot of that game sounds like Elden Ring Fortnite Edition. PlayStation is a really hit and miss studio. Like this year, they announced Astrobot halfway through the year, and it won Game of the Year. But they're the same studio who decided Concord was a good idea. Xbox published an actually good game. There's also some pretty good monkey-like games. Starfield Shattered Space was a $30 DLC for 30 seconds of gameplay. Alright, now let's talk about the best from this year. VR is a really cool concept in video games, but it's way too expensive. Batman Arkham Shadow, you fight goons, you glide in VR. It feels unreal and really makes you feel like Elon Musk's Cybertruck baby named Z3020 or something like that. Okay, anyways, about the game, you basically fight red people. Okay, so this game, if you like God of War, play this. If you like Gears of War, play this. If you like Doom, play this. And if you like this, play Stardew, because it's pretty good. The combat is just so amazing. You feel like an absolute god, beating up all the aliens and bugs with like chain swords and shotguns. The lore also goes crazy because like for some reason there's like over 40 quintillion books in this franchise. Like how did they make so much lore? But I love this game so much because I mean like you're an 8-foot tall, surgically enhanced super soldier who beats xenomorphs, and that's really all I can say about it. The only bad thing is that, like, there's some, like, annoying tasks that you have to do sometimes. That's really the only bad thing about it. For a hero shooter, this is a really good game, and it's free. I just love the flow of combat in this game, and even though it's kind of a copy of Overwatch, it's way better than Overwatch 2, and it's actually getting updated, unlike TF2. Matchmaking is the quickest I've ever seen from a game like this. Most of the time I got like 0 or 1 seconds. It was really like a surprise whenever I got 2 seconds. The maps also look beautiful in like the art style. Well, and if you're feeling hatred, you can destroy it all. And yeah, it's free, so you have no reason not to get it. This is my favorite game with a crab. I also can't think of another game with a crab in it. So Another Crab's Treasure is like a Souls-like, but instead it's set in like an ocean setting where like fish use the garbage that humans have dropped into the sea, and your main character is dragged into the plot because he committed tax evasion. The gameplay is simple but effective. You can do light and heavy attacks, and the art style looks really cool. And seeing all these wacky creatures using garbage and all the boss fights are really fun. There's also a grappling hook, really good. The game does suffer from it being pretty easy for a Souls-like and having a few glitches, but I respect the game for doing something, you know, more different with the genre. Also, technically the humans are the enemies in Another Crab's Treasure because they're basically poisoning all the animals. That's pretty deep. The Last of Us 2 was a game made in 2020. It got a remaster in 2024, but I'm not going to be talking about the quote-unquote remastered version of the game. I'm going to be talking about the new mode, No Return. It's a roguelike survival mode where you press triangle a lot.
To make a move to a town that's right for me.
But I mean, you already do that in the base game, but you basically fight off waves of infected or wacky goons, and then you fight like a funky boss.
Stinky!
And then you also get to play as different characters with their own different playstyle, like Abby, Tommy, Joel, and Jesse. The remaster isn't really remastered, but if you didn't play The Last of Us Part 2, you should get it, and if you did, you can get the remaster for $10, so that's a pretty good deal. Also, an honorable mention to Persona 3 Reload, you can kill yourself a lot in the game, and a dishonorable mention to Starfield Shattered Space for shattering my balls. But the next game, I think, is the best game of 2024, and it's Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Yeah, I know, it's an expansion, but if Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is going to be considered a game, then this can be too. The thing that was amazing about Elden Dingling was the exploration and the difficulty. You see, the thing is, people found out how to insta-kill the bosses with powerful builds. So what did From Software do about it? They made it incredibly unforgiving compared to the original base game. And I know people don't really like it because it's pretty unfair, but I think it's amazing. And I didn't think they would be able to top Elden Ring in terms of exploration, but it turns out that this is actually the sequel to Elden Ring disguised as a DLC. It took me like 30 hours to beat the main story of the expansion. And after that, you will continue to be surprised by the expansion, seeing all the new bosses, areas, items. They just took what made Elden Ring work and put it into this while making it more difficult. It is still shocking how much content is in this expansion. Like on how long to beat, it says like it takes like 51 hours to beat the expansion. That is just insane. So yeah, that was my best 2024 list. I know there were other games in 2024 that were really good that I didn't get to. Also, this list wasn't in order, but if I had to put them in order, it would be this. So I recommend checking out these games because they're all really good. And in 2025, gaming is so back. We're getting GTA 6 and Assassin's Creed Shadows, which the creative director says was the worst thing he's ever seen. Yes. Also subscribe. But for real, Bugsnax is the real game of the year.